Welcome back to the Ancestral Findings podcast. As we continue our series, Forgotten Seconds, which explores the lives of vice presidents who never reached the presidency, today we turn to William Almon Wheeler, who served as vice president under President Rutherford B. Hayes from 1877 to 1881. While his name has largely faded from popular memory, Wheeler was once seen as a beacon of personal integrity during a time of political corruption and Reconstruction turmoil. His life tells a story not only of public service, but of humble beginnings, strong principles, and a quiet influence behind the scenes. William A. Wheeler was born on June 30, 1819, in Malone, Franklin County, New York, a small town near the Canadian border. His ancestry reaches deep into colonial New England and reflects the steady stream of English families who shaped early America. His father, Almon Wheeler, circa 1788-1823, was a merchant and businessman who died when William was only a young boy. Almon was descended from early settlers in Massachusetts and Vermont. The Wheeler family itself can be traced back to Thomas Wheeler, an English Puritan who arrived in the Massachusetts Bay Colony in the 1600s and settled in Concord. Thomas's descendants spread through New England, including Connecticut and Vermont, before some eventually moved into upstate New York. William's mother, Eliza Townsend Wheeler, 1795-1876, came from the Townsend family, which also had deep colonial roots. The Townsends were known in various New England records going back to the early 18th century. After Almon's early death, Eliza supported her children as best she could, giving William a strong example of resilience and moral character that would shape his approach to life and public service. Wheeler's early years were marked by hardship. He worked on neighboring farms and taught school to help support himself and his family. He briefly attended the University of Vermont and later studied law under established attorneys. Though he did not complete a formal college education, he was admitted to the bar in 1845, a common path at the time for self-made men in rural communities. His legal practice was based in Malone, and he quickly gained a reputation for honesty, fairness, and practicality. In an age when legal and political corruption was rampant in some areas, Wheeler stood apart as a man of principle. He married Mary King Wheeler in 1845. The couple had no children, but they were known to be devoted to each other, and Mary remained a quiet but strong presence in William's life. Wheeler's political career began at the local level. He served as district attorney of Franklin County from 1846 to 1849. He was then elected to the New York State Assembly in 1850 and later to the State Senate, where he served from 1858 to 1860. His leadership style was marked by moderation, diligence, and avoidance of personal attacks, traits that earned him respect, even from opponents. In 1861, as the Civil War broke out, Wheeler was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. He would serve from 1861 to 1863, then again from 1869 to 1877, always representing his northern New York district. During the war, he was a firm Union man, supporting President Lincoln's war efforts, but also pushing for fiscal restraint and constitutional adherence. In his later congressional terms, he opposed the corruption that had begun to stain Reconstruction politics, particularly under President Ulysses S. Grant. Wheeler is best remembered in Congress for the so-called Wheeler Compromise of 1875, in which he helped mediate a peaceful resolution between conflicting governments in Louisiana during the chaos of post-war Reconstruction. His compromise, though controversial, helped avoid armed conflict and elevated his national standing as a wise and honest broker. The presidential election of 1876 was one of the most contested in U.S. history. Democrat Samuel Tilden won the popular vote, but the Electoral College outcome was in dispute in several southern states. To resolve the crisis, Congress created an electoral commission, which ultimately awarded the presidency to Republican Rutherford B. Hayes after a compromise that ended Reconstruction in the South. During the campaign, William Wheeler had not been a major contender for the vice presidency, but Hayes needed a running mate who was unblemished by scandal and respected across party lines, and Wheeler fit the bill. He was nominated and confirmed with little controversy, chosen more for his integrity than political connections. Wheeler served from March 4th, 1877 to March 4th, 1881, and like many vice presidents of the era, he had little formal power. His role was largely ceremonial, presiding over the Senate and quietly advising Hayes. He was not ambitious for the presidency, nor did he seek to steer policy. Hayes respected him, and their relationship was cordial. But Wheeler was not a dominant voice in the administration. He did, however, continue to advocate for civil service reform and clean government, causes Hayes also supported. Wheeler's modesty was well known. When Hayes called him with the news of his vice presidential nomination, Wheeler is reported to have said, "I am as surprised as you are." His lack of personal ambition and refusal to take part in political patronage were both admired and criticized. Some felt he could have done more to push back against party machine politics, but others saw him as a rare moral compass in Gilded Age politics. After his term ended in 1881, Wheeler did not return to politics. He declined opportunities to run for higher office or serve in the administration. Instead, he returned to Malone, where he lived a quiet life surrounded by books and old friends. He suffered from poor health in his later years and died on June 4th, 1887, just shy of his 68th birthday. His wife Mary survived him by several years. The couple is buried in the Morningside Cemetery in Malone. Though he had no children, Wheeler left behind a legacy of humility and public service that stood in contrast to the greed and scandal that marked much of the late 19th century. When you look at the strengths William A. Wheeler brought to the vice presidency, a few things stand out right away. First and foremost, he had a reputation for honesty, one of the most trusted men in Washington at a time when corruption was running rampant. He also played a key role in helping settle the Reconstruction crisis in Louisiana without bloodshed, which could have turned violent if not handled carefully. Throughout his career, he consistently supported civil service reform and called for cleaner, more ethical government. His quiet strength and good character added credibility to the Hayes administration during a tense and uncertain time. But Wheeler also had his limitations. He didn't have the kind of public presence or charisma that makes a politician memorable. On top of that, he wasn't especially influential when it came to shaping policy. He preferred to avoid conflict and didn't get involved in the rougher parts of political life, which meant his impact was limited. In the end, while he was steady and dependable, he remained mostly in the background during a period of major change in American politics. William A. Wheeler may not be a household name today, but he represented an ideal that many Americans still admire. The honest, hard-working public servant who quietly does what is right without seeking personal glory. At a time when corruption and division ran rampant, Wheeler's life and character provided a steadying presence. His story is a reminder that sometimes the most admirable leaders are those who serve without fanfare and leave behind a reputation unsullied by ambition. If you've got a hard-to-find ancestor you're stuck on, I'd love to hear about it. Just head over to ancestralfindings.com and click on Contact to send me a message. While you're there, take advantage of our free weekly genealogy lookups. Explore thousands of articles and enjoy hundreds of podcast episodes. We've been helping family history researchers since 1995. And if you're looking for even more, check out our Genealogy Gold Q&A series over on Patreon. Thanks for listening. And as always, happy searching.